Now here's the key part of the entire process. If we look at what's the problem with EDTA, DMPS, and DMSA, and I know people say some of it goes through the cell, but not very effectively. Anything is charged will not go through this lipid bilayer unless it has a carrier. NBMI goes through it without any problem at all, and we've done the studies to show that. It gets inside, just like mercury. Mercury vapor goes through this membrane without any problem, gets inside as mercury vapor, catalase converts it to Hg2+, and it ends up being concentrated in the mitochondria. Methylmercury and ethylmercury have unusual chemistries. In other words, when ethylmercury is in the blood, which has a high chloride content, you make this neutral compound called ethylmercury chloride. That can go through the membrane uncharged, and when it gets on the other side, you can lose that chloride as it reacts with a sulfur or as it reacts with something else, and you concentrate because there are more negative charges on the inside of the membrane than there is over here. And this is this paper by Sharp, published in 2012, and he showed that ethylmercury outside in the blood concentrates in the cytoplasm about 5.6 times higher than is concentrated in the blood. When it gets inside the membrane, inside the cytosol, it's concentrated in the mitochondria 1,000 times higher than it is in the blood. So the fact is, when they tell you what the concentration of mercury is in your bloodstream, you have to multiply that by 1,000 if that mercury comes from ethylmercury or methylmercury. I mean, that's called, it's called physical biochemistry, and he's done the calculations and he's done the measurements showing that dysfunctional mitochondria are the major target of ethylmercury in the bloodstream. And I would point out that just today, and if you haven't looked it up, you should look it up. The University of Michigan Medical School just released a major publication, and in that publication they stated that exposure to the aerosol or ethylmercury is the major cause of autoimmune disease, because it causes membranes to become leaky, which we'll show later. That's what this does. It goes through the membrane, disrupts the membrane by affecting the mitochondria and the cells that make the biomembranes, like the epithelial layer of the intestine or the endothelial layer of the arteries. So this compound, I have a lot of hopes for this compound to help with a lot of illnesses that many of us are thinking are insolvable today. So, let's see. Oh, yeah. Whenever you talk about removing mercury from the bloodstream using DMPS, and it does clean it out of the blood, what happens, and the study that was done in the Philippines, using DMPS to treat mercury toxic people that were at the estuaries eating mercury that was released from gold mining. What they found is they could treat with DMPS for a long period of time, and every day they got a kick out of mercury in the urine. And but at the end of the study, they stopped for 2 days and then rechecked it. And the mercury level in the blood that was released by DMPS on a DMPS challenge was the same as before they started. So what I'm telling you is that there's a huge amount of mercury that's stored in the body. And getting it out with water-soluble chelators is sort of like emptying a 50-gallon barrel with a tablespoon. And getting it out while it's still there is still toxic. And this the concept of this compound, NBMI, is to go in and tie it up immediately, make an insoluble, non-reactive, non-toxic material that builds up in your body, but your body gets rid of it over a long period of time. And people tell you, well, it'll make you sick, it'll cause your brain to rot or whatever. I've heard so many things. I mean, I'm serious. I've been taking it. It'll be 8 years this November. I've been taking it just about every day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. And I haven't had any mental problems yet, at least none that I know of. So let's talk about the safety testing, because everything depends upon you having the data